Welcome to World Regional Geography. My name's Dan Scollin. I'm an instructor in Geography and Geographic Information Systems. I'm also the program coordinator for those two programs at Shasta College. I've been at the college for 20 years now, so been there quite a while, and I'm looking forward to sharing and learning with you this semester. As the course title implies, this course will investigate the world's geography by regions. Regions are areas of Earth's surface determined according to shared qualities or characteristics. The field of geography, by its nature, is concerned with investigating and analyzing the unique and defining character of places. Therefore, the criteria for determining regions is of central concern to geographers. Geographers are concerned with the particular physical features, mountains, forests, deserts, etc., and human characteristics, religion, language, ethnicity, economy, etc., of places and regions. When one considers the scope and diversity of the world's physical and human landscapes, this is a formidable task indeed. However, by establishing some general subjects and methods of investigation, we can approach the world regional geography in a way that is not only manageable but fun. You can be assured of one thing after completing this class. You will increase your knowledge of places around the world, their character and unique qualities. So with that brief introduction to the course, I'm going to give you a little orientation to the Canvas website, talk a little bit about some of the course requirements, and give you a little bit of a teaser in terms of introducing the material that we'll be exploring in the course together. So I'm at the course homepage here. I've got a little welcome block in the beginning here, and I have a number of documents that are highlighted here, and you'll want to be sure to read through the course syllabus, and I'll highlight a few things from the syllabus here shortly. Take a look at the weekly schedule of quizzes, exams, and assignments, so you're sure that you have those logged onto your own calendar. Consider keys to success in an online class. Online courses are different from your traditional in-class courses, and if you're not familiar with them, there are definitely some strategies you would like to employ in order to be successful in the class. And then, of course, study the lecture and related materials under Module A. And finally, you will read the introduction chapter in the course textbook. This is the textbook for the course. I am using an earlier edition. I think there's a more recent edition, but for cost reasons, I'm continuing to use the 6th edition. I would recommend purchasing this edition of the textbook, and you should be able to get it fairly inexpensively online. You'll notice that this is hyperlinked to a website that has a number of resources, but not the text itself. So you will need to have a physical hard copy of the course textbook. So the way that I have things organized, you will see modules. This is where the bulk of the material will be posted. And so when I click on the module for this week, the first unit that we're looking at, and you can see that I have 2 lectures. These are structured around the introduction chapter for the course textbook. Also have a little getting acquainted discussion, and you will also see a review for this week. That's a graded review. And all of this, of course, relates to the course syllabus, and you will want to read through the syllabus carefully and look at all the details of it, but I did want to just briefly highlight the evaluation and grading. You can see that you will be taking map quizzes, and I will be distributing map quiz materials for you to prepare and study from. And you will take 6 of these quizzes for different regions of the world. There is an interactive map quiz utility on the course website, the textbook website link that I showed you on the home page. And that's really handy because you can just practice on your own at identifying and naming places around the world. You guys will do Europe and Russia for your first quiz, and so that's where you would start with your own practice. 2 equally weighted exams will be given, and you can see the percentage that makes up for the course. You'll see assignments. There are 2 assignments. You'll do an investigation of state development from data and maps, and also a world cultures report, making up 20% of the grade. And then finally, you've got weekly discussions and reviews. These will actually alternate. Some weeks we'll have reviews, some weeks we'll have discussions. The reviews will have questions related to textbook, current affairs, materials from the lecture, and discussions will allow for student-to-student and student-to-instructor interaction, which is helpful in a course like this, where we're not seeing each other face-to-face. So the other document that you'll see there is a week-to-week schedule. So you would look at the first week. Here we are. September 4th is today. Happy Labor Day. So officially things will get rolling on Tuesday this week. And you can see the topic. You can see the chapter number. This is labeled as the first chapter as the intro, and then we move into chapter 1 as Europe for next week. You can see your schedule of map quizzes, assignments. I'll be giving you your next assignment within the week. You will see your exam schedule as well on this, so you can use that to guide your review and preparation for the week-to-week materials. Okay, so with that little brief introduction into sort of the way that the course is structured, again, week to week, I do run things such that you'll look on Monday for the newly posted lectures and review and or discussion materials. I'll be providing various sort of links and videos along the way. You'll see a number of videos that are linked in these first 2 lectures. And I focus some attention on Africa by way of example in this. And so to sort of whet your appetite about the study of geography a bit, I wanted to share some recent photographs with you. And this particular photo on the surface looks an awful lot like Northern California. Dry grasses and trees, sometimes described as an oak savanna you might find in different parts of Northern California. But careful examination will reveal that we are in a very different part of the world. Indeed, this is South Africa, where we had our study abroad program this last year. Actually just got back a few weeks ago. This is the 3rd consecutive year. We have traveled to Honduras, Indonesia, South Africa this year, and now we're scheduled for next year to travel to the outskirts of the Amazon basin in the country of Guyana. If you're interested in that, you can email me or send the Student Services area of Shasta College has details on that particular trip. So this was a conservation-oriented research trip, and so we were out in a game reserve and making observations and measurements and inventory and counting various species that are iconic and familiar to many of you. So fascinating to see the sheer diversity of species that are found in this particular part of the world. And in this week's lecture, you'll learn a little bit about the physical geography of South Africa and Africa as a whole that helps to understand some of its kind of unique characteristics. These are students. You can see we were spent a fair bit of time on the back of trucks because there were lions and leopards and other things that were quite dangerous. When we were out on foot, we had these guys with us who were responsible for keeping us safe in the bush. Interestingly, the gentleman on the left, well, let's start with the gentleman on the right, Gavin, was of British descent, so this was part of the British Empire colonial holding of Britain for a long time. The fellow on the left is Afrikaans, which are descendants of the Dutch that originally settled the area. The British and the Dutch didn't always get along real well, but these two guys seem to get on okay. One of our students in the foreground here, and one of our guides, who was a Tswana ethnic group, and actually related to the Bushmen. He had a grandmother that was a San Bushman. So when you're reading the lecture, if you look at the two video clips that I have posted, you'll see his relatives, the Tswana and the Khoisan, represented. And this is what they were looking at. The highly endangered white rhinoceros of South Africa. You can see a pup there with the mother. And as we were leaving this game reserve, just some scenes from the road. You see these sort of uniformed school children out on the highway, and a rather blurry photo in the bottom right. You can see some of the poverty that is still found in South Africa. The upper right is a rather interesting construction type that I had not seen before, which is the use of stones to construct walls. And we did travel down to the Indian Ocean, so we did some diving and coral reef ecology course. So this is a popular destination, and quite a beautiful one at that. And you did have to keep your eyes open if you were in the water. There were sharks. If you went inland, there were hippos and crocodiles, so keep your eyes open. And we got to experience some of the traditional cultures, the Zulu, perhaps the best known native culture in South Africa, and see some of the traditional dwellings, a little bit of cultural experience. And of course, things have changed a lot. This is a modern country. You see this modern power plant in the lower right-hand corner. The picture in the upper left are tailings from gold mines. So this is a large gold mining operation. South Africa to this day is one of the largest gold producers in the world. And when you get into the city, this is actually in Johannesburg, you get a sense of this very diverse population, in some ways modern, in some ways quite traditional, and always see street signs that are unusual and different than you would see at home. Here's our group again. South Africa was somewhat infamous for many years for their system of apartheid, of separating blacks and whites, and separate services, separate actual land areas that people were permitted to live in, requirement that for blacks to travel, they would have to have permits and licenses that would allow them to go from place to place. And this is the museum that helped us to kind of understand this really complex history. You can see actually Nelson Mandela, the founder of modern South Africa, post-apartheid, in the illustration along the wall there. Okay, so that's just a brief introduction. Again, just to kind of welcome you all. I am really looking forward to exploring and sharing with you this semester and learning a bit from you as well. I always find that through discussions and assignments and so forth, I get to learn quite a bit along the way. I have traveled extensively. Southeast Asia in particular is probably the place outside of the United States that I've spent the most time, but South America, Central America, other places. So I hope to share some of those experiences with you, and we'll look forward to seeing you online.